Good morning. I want to read you a book. This is called The Book That Eats People. Caution. This is a book that eats people. If you hear growling while you're reading it, stop reading, close the cover, and put something heavy on top of it. Do not tell your little brother or sister to read this book, especially when it's hungry. You should always assume this book is hungry. Remember, this is not a storybook. This is not a book of rhymes. This isn't a how-to book or a dictionary. It's a book that eats people. One day in Little Rock, Arkansas, Sammy Ruskin forgot to wash his hands after lunch, and the book tasted peanut butter on his fingers. So this book went snap and took a bite, and then another and another. Sammy squirmed and wriggled. Sammy squealed and yelled. Sammy pulled as hard as he could, but the book ate him. Then it coughed up his bones, and they clattered across the floor like wooden blocks. That was the first person this book ate. If you hear pages rustling, it's probably because this book smells something yummy. But if you hear a sound like an octopus in a tub of yogurt, that's the book's empty stomach. And the book is ravenous. If you hear that, find someone nearby fast who might taste a delicious book. After this book ate Sammy Ruskin, his parents gave it to the library, where it sat, trapped and mad, tightly shelved between the complete guide to the saints and sandwiches through the ages. Its stomach growled and growled for weeks until late one evening when someone left the guide to the saints on the table in the reference section. That night, while the moon shone, the book devoured famous Americans, who's who in America's business, and Mr. Singh, the security guard, who yelled like crazy. When the librarians came back in, it was swallowing the last pages of How Things Work. This book's scaring me a little bit. Titles like What Happened to Sam Ruskin keep some library books shelved forever. So while the librarians wept, this book traded covers with All About Dolphins. And that very same day, right about the time when everybody likes a chocolate chip cookie, Victoria Glassford checked it out. What's gonna happen? I'm so nervous! She put the book on her nightstand, but before she could finish brushing her teeth, it jumped up, thumped on her head, and gobbled her down, beginning with her polished pink toenails. I don't have polished pink toenails because of this book, not because I don't want them. Have you ever heard a book burp? This is a bad book, a book with teeth and claws. It's a monster that eats people. You should throw it in the fireplace on the coldest February day. You should grind up its page by page in your dad's coffee grinder. Experts say when a book eats someone, it's either self-defense or a mistake, and the book never eats anyone again. But this book ate Sammy, Victoria, Mr. Singh, and then it ate Joey, Juan, and Isabel when they found it in a heap of boxes on the street in Philadelphia. Of course, someone from the neighborhood watch saw the book eat those three kids and called the police. Yak, yak! They're coming up on the book. The book's in jail. The book's tied up in jail. They took it and locked it up in a jail cell where it ate Chuck Anderson, who deserved it. Some people think it's cruel to chain a book. The guards did it anyway. Judge Cox, who loved all books, sent it to the zoo where zookeepers tried to reform it. They fed it fried chicken, pickles, I love pickles, hot dogs, I also love ice cream, noodles, and toast, but nothing worked because this book craves people. When it chewed through a zookeeper's shoe, they finally gave it up and put a label on it that says, "This book that eats people," in big, bold letters. So now everyone knows what kind of book this is, and no one knows where you found it. But be careful. Never read this book with syrupy fingers. Never read it with cookies in your pocket. Never turn your back on it. Never, ever read this book alone, because this book is always hungry. And it eats people. I hope this book doesn't eat me. I miss you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day today. I hope you do something that gets all your wiggles out. I hope you help your parents out. And I hope this book...